Cuddles 3 Heat Wave. There was nothing to compare to the comfort factor of a fluffy unicorn in the wintertime. Pony body temperature was naturally higher than a human's to begin with, and then there was the fur to consider. Cammy's winter coat gave her maximum fluff. In the dog days of summer, though, ponies built their houses to allow for natural airflow, which at least helped. The thatched roof insulated better than I would have thought possible, and the overhang helped keep the high summer sun out of the inside of the house. Open dormer windows created a chimney effect in the house, which in theory would pull the hot, humid air up and replace it with cooler air. That was simple physics, and that required cooler air to make it work. Maybe the weather ponies had screwed up, or maybe Celestia had moved the sun too close. That wasn't a thought I would have had back on Earth. It was day 9 of the heat wave. Every pony in the office was listless, and work had slowed down to a crawl. The third day, some of the office mares had came back from their lunch breaks soaking wet, and I've discovered that they were spending their lunch break cooling off in the local pond. By the 5th day, I joined them, packing a bathing suit and a towel along with my lunch. Even the normally industrious Earth pony stopped their midday labors, retiring from their travails in the afternoon. The fact that they made it that long in the sun was a testament to their stamina. Weather ponies disappeared mid-morning, either roosting in trees to wait out the heat, or hiding in their clouds. There had been an attempt to cool things down with an unscheduled rain shower, but that didn't help for long. It was pleasant for the time it lasted, then the clouds dried up, and the evaporating rainwater increased the humidity. Throughout the heatwave, my fancy work clothes had changed from formal to casual, and then to minimal, and I wasn't alone in that. Ponies who normally wore clothes didn't, and they all de-accessorized themselves as well. Mitzi was the last holdout. On Friday, her bow was drooping by mid-morning, and she finally took it off, wrapped her mane in a sloppy bun, and stuck a couple of pencils in it to hold it in place. I got home before Cammy, in deference to the heat, work was getting out when the majority of ponies gave up on it, and flopped onto the couch. The fireplace, a source of joy in the wintertime, was purposeless. Unless ponies could somehow invent a fire which sucked up heat. That was something to ask Cammy when she got home. Or maybe not. She preferred when I kept the subject off magic, especially experimental magic. I could have made us dinner, but I didn't feel like it. There were leftovers from last night, a couple of boxes of takeout from Cheerful Cowbear, and they would be perfect cold. I hadn't fallen asleep on the couch. It was too hot to fall asleep on the couch. I had mentally disengaged, so I didn't register the front door opening, nor the clap of hooves through the house. The first I knew of her arrival was when Cammy poked her snout in the living room. Her coat was streaked with salt, and a few drying patches of lather. All of a sudden, all of my discomfort was forgotten. "What happened to you?"
"I'll explain in the shower,"
she said. She paused on her trek through the living room, long enough to give my knee a gentle nuzzle, then made her way up the stairs. She was midway up when I heard the water start. That was one of the advantages of being a unicorn. In the morning, she would sometimes start the water before she even got out of bed, in order to give it some time to warm up. Today, of course, she had no interest in letting it warm up. Judging by how hot the house was, it might need a minute or two to cool down, though. Cammy got in the tub with her tail to the shower head, and she backed into the spray, finally pausing as it reached the back of her neck.
"Oh, stars, that feels good."
She dropped to her knees, and then did an awkward roll in the bathtub until her belly was facing the water. "Aw, who's a silly pony?" Cammy stuck her tongue out at me, then flung her loofah at me with her magic. It was a half-hearted attempt, and I caught it easily.
"Never thought I'd be wishing to chase some magical abomination in a deep cave, but no. Some pony decided to go experiment with a jar of bullywug tadpoles, and of course, she wasn't quick enough to catch them all."
"You gotta catch 'em all," I say.
"The local monster patrol got about half of them before we arrived,"
she said.
"but that still left a dozen or more to chase down. In the hot sun. Across several fields, and bullywugs are naturally attracted to water, but you'd think I got to chase any of them into a pond? Or even a puddle? And then, the local magistrate wouldn't let us leave until we filled out the proper capture forms, even though we totally could have done that later. Should have told him what he could do with his forms. At least I've got the joy of knowing that somewhere in his file cabinet, he's got a bunch of magical monster capture forms covered in the sweat of my brow. Literally, with all of the little boxes filled in with the worst mouth writing ever.
Mouth writing? I leaned forward with concern. Were you so tired that you couldn't use your magic anymore?
Nah, but I didn't feel like it.
She shifted around in the tub, winding up on her belly with her head stuck over the side, the cold water from the shower still beating down her back.
He made me suffer in the sun for 10 minutes that I didn't have to, so he could spend forever with a form that he can't read. What's for dinner?
Leftover Chinese from last night. Not warmed up at all.
Sounds perfect. I like the way you think.
She reached out with her aura and turned the shower off.
Stand back. I'm gonna shake off.
In the winter time, there was nothing better than cuddling up with a fluffy, warm pony. In the summertime...
Don't touch me!
Cammy warned.
Your hands are too hot.
I wasn't going to, I said. I was just moving around trying to find a position where the sheets were still cool. She lighted her horn for a moment, then flickered it out.
There aren't any left.
Pillows? Her horn lit again.
Nope.
Figures. Back on Earth we've got hot water bottles, which I suppose could be filled with cold water, and I don't know why I never thought of that before just now. Or crushed ice. You don't have anything like that, do you? She shook her head. Spell to keep me cold?
Short of turning you into a block of ice, no.
She lifted a hoof up and rubbed her chin in contemplation.
Or a petrification spell. Stone gets warm slowly, so maybe... Not sure how much you'd feel when you're stoned. I've never tried it. I could turn you into stone until the heat wave ends.
The boss would be mad if I missed work.
Being petrified is a legit excuse, as long as you've got a doctor's or mage's note.
Really? Cammy nodded.
Had to write one once. The poor girl. No pony went looking for her until she missed work for a week. Well, if you want to give it a try...
Is it better to be frozen in stone with an expression of horror or a heroic pose?
You're not serious?
No, I said. Curious, though. She lifted her head off the pillow and turned to face me.
Well, I guess we'd get called quicker if you're frozen with an expression of horror, but if things go really wrong and we can't unpetrify you, if you've got a heroic look, there's always the chance of becoming a new statue in town until some pony figures out how to reverse the petrification spell.
There aren't around town. There's a few pony statues. None of them are actual petrified ponies. Are there?
Not as far as you know,
she said cheerfully, then dropped her head back onto the pillow.
It's way too hot.
Yeah.
You ever consider sleeping in the bathtub?
Not really, I admitted. Why?
Good.
Cammy rolled off the bed.
That means there won't be competition.
Hey, now don't count me out just yet. I also got out of bed. It was too hot to race to the bathroom, so the two of us covered the distance at a sedate pace. I can't think of any reason why this is actually a good idea, I said as I settled in the bathtub.
And I can't think of any reason it's not.
Cammy pulled herself over the edge of the tub, planting her hooves on either side of my legs. She settled with her head on my chest, too hot until the water started flowing. I'd never fallen asleep in a bathtub before, but I was in Equestria now, and there was a first time for everything. Cammy turned off the water when it was just past my navel, deep enough that most of her belly was in the water, and her head wasn't. It was more comfortable than I thought it would be. True, the bathtub was hard and unyielding, and true, I was lacking a pillow to rest my head upon. But the cool water was a welcome change from the unbearable heat. One of her natural sleeping positions was on her belly, folded up into a pony loaf, and the bathtub didn't impede that at all. I knew that in the morning I was going to be sore from not sleeping in a proper bed, and I also knew that despite that, I was going to get a better night's sleep than I would have in bed, tossing and turning in a futile attempt to find a cool spot on the mattress. And I also knew that the water in the tub had cooled her enough that Cammy wasn't objecting as I ran my hands through her mane. And when it comes down to it, that's all that matters. When it comes to absolutely adorable and phenomenally heartwarming works of writing, Admiral Biscuit is one hell of an author. Anyway, I'd love to give a very special thank you to my cuddly donators. Top donator, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, Dospo, RuneScythe9852, CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Gagi, Secret Moon, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Soul Dragon, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David D. Sanchez, Trey, Dak Britton, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, James Dalton, and TLK Anderson. Thank you all very much for watching this cuddly little video, and live life to the fullest.